Welcome back to the Small Business Show, where you get to hear the journey, find the challenge, and create solutions. I'm your host, Lori Brooks, and I thank you so much for joining me today. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Today, I am absolutely thrilled to introduce Jennifer Watson, a dynamic healer and speaker renowned for her expertise in integrative wellness and transformational leadership. As the CEO of Watson Worldwide, Jennifer empowers business leaders to achieve sustainable high performance and impactful leadership. Additionally, she's the founder of Run Your Race Global, aiming to create global healing and prosperity. Jennifer has a background as a former D1 collegiate track athlete and a 2 times All-American. She's inspired many as a 2 times TEDx speaker and through her appearances on NBC, Fox Radio, and Top Podcast. Jennifer, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Lori. I'm excited to jump into the conversation and support your community. So thank you for having me.
I thank you for being here. I'm super excited to dive into your journey. But before we do, I want to rewind the clock just a bit. Let's go back to the days of, say, high school. Think of a time when your parents or a mentor or an aunt or an uncle even may have asked you, what is it you want to be when you grow up? What was your answer to that question?
Oh, man. You know what? There were a few things. I was one of those kids that knew exactly what I wanted to do at a pretty young age. I wanted to be an Olympian. I ran track in college, by the way. You know, it almost got that time All-American, but I wanted to be an Olympian. I wanted to be a speaker, and I wanted to help people heal because I had my injuries in my sports, but also I struggled, we'll get in my story, with depression, debilitating depression. So I wanted to be a person that could heal myself, mind, body, and help others do the same. So kind of in that order, in high school, I would say I wanted to be an Olympian. I wanted to be a speaker and a healer for people, and that they could see that they could get that too, that they could get the same. And ultimately, I think even at that age, I knew I wanted to be a leader of something. Like, it was on my heart that I would have to pave the path for something hard, but I was okay with that. I've always felt like a natural leader, but I even felt it even when I was 16, 17, 18, and I was already being successful at things. But I would say in that order, I really felt that. I wanted to be the Olympian. I wanted to be the speaker. I wanted to be the healer, and ultimately the leader to help people see that they could have the things that they desired as well, and help leaders create other leaders. So that's kind of what I would say in high school, what I was loving the most.
I absolutely love that. I love that you had that vision early on. I love that you had that sense of clarity. We're so blessed in that because there's so few people who have the opportunity to truly have that sort of clarity that early on. There's so many people who search and seek and try to figure it out. And, you know, the entrepreneurial journey can be muddied in so many different ways without that clarity that you had. So for you to have that clarity that early on, what do you feel like were some of those first steps that you took to begin actually following that vision, to begin actually making that clarity a reality for you?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Side note, when you said the number that clear, I have an identical twin sister and she wasn't. I was in high school. I knew what I wanted to do, when I wanted. Yes. And my twin was not like that. And ironically, I'm the entrepreneur and she is not. In fact, that doesn't mean you have to be a certain way to be an entrepreneur, but what you just said is true. And I will say, I didn't even think about, ironically, entrepreneurship until I got out of undergrad and finally got my master's in PT and started thinking about it. But that wasn't even on my mind. But I realized then I was carrying traits of what a true entrepreneur is. But I would say what was one of the things that I started working on, even at a young age, before I even thought I would be a business leader, and it soon came thereafter, is courageous little step in honestly being honest with myself. You know, from a very young age, I was a high performer and I loved being good at a lot of different things and showing people how to do it and being the leader. But I really struggled with performance being connected to worth, performance being connected to the value of who I was. And for me, I knew that I had to break free of that pattern and learn to be myself. courageously being myself in the gifting that I had, in the things that I desired. Like you said, even that started in high school, and know that even though there's good mentorship and coaching, I had amazing people around me, that ultimately it came down to me making courageous steps of being honest where I was at, where I had gifts, where I needed to get support, where were my blocks, where were my fears. And the biggest thing was I really being truly myself. And I actually struggled with that at a very young age, and led to some of the depression that we can even get into with my story, because of that connection to performance and doing what I thought everybody else thought I should do. I started dormanting. It's so funny you mentioned that, Lori, about what I wanted in high school. I started dormanting some of my goals, some of my things I talked about. And even if I didn't dormant some of them, I started doing what I thought I should be doing, or I thought the way to do it from other people. And my voice started quieting. My ideas started quieting. My gifting started quieting. So for me, my step into business leadership years later in 2008, that's when I opened my first business, was actually the slowly unwinding of the truth of me. Courageous steps in what I knew needed to be done that was aligned with me and my truth and my brilliance. I had stacked many years, even from high school, you guys, of all my dreams. I started stacking, dormanting some of the dreams that the way I wanted to do it and doing what everybody else wanted me to. And I started covering some of that. So in answer, I know it's kind of an answer, long answer to your question, is for me, I actually started going backwards for a little bit. During my journey where I ultimately became an entrepreneur, I started stacking again what everybody thought I should be, started going through periods of depression. My journey back to myself, which included mind health, mental health, emotional, physical health, is what was my journey back to my soul's purpose, which then ironically, I built frameworks for mentally, emotional, physical health that built my first PT practice and my way, because I courageously took the step of going, I'm not in a good space. I'm not where I need to be. And I'm certainly not back to where I wanted my goals to be. And I'm not certainly doing it my way. And I'm not certainly taking advice from good people. And I'm not certainly, doing the things that I know are good and true and right of me. I'm doing everything else that everybody wants me to do. So honestly, for me, and I actually believe, I don't know if any of you are listening to me and are going, I believe a lot of entrepreneurs have been that way, because they're high performers, they're motivated, they're willing to take risks. But I feel sometimes we still get in the noise of what other people think we should be doing, because we want to be high performers and we want to do it what we think is the right way. So for me, I would say the entrepreneur life, if you can learn to take courageous steps, small aligned steps that are aligned with your soul purpose, your brilliance, I believe it's the key to becoming a powerful entrepreneur, powerful business leader, most importantly, a leader for your deeper purpose of impact. There's so many other tools, because there's a lot of things that make a good entrepreneur. But I have to say, if you can start with that and stick with that, and then get a community that supports that, and then get a coach or a mentor that keeps you accountable to stay true to who you are. And then, yes, advice to help you along the process of business mentorship, I think is beautiful. But honestly, for me, it was really coming back home to me, the courageous steps of what I loved your question, what I really believed, what I wanted in high school, and how I started dormanting what I wanted and doing it a certain way. Before you know it, I wasn't even who I was. Ironically, I started unpacking that. And it led to the way that I started treating people in a powerful way in my purpose. And go figure, I could actually step in light, in love, and in truth of who I was when I actually did start my entrepreneurial journey, because I went back home to my gifts and how I wanted to do it. I opened in the 2008 crash. Do you know how many people told me I shouldn't open, that I would fail, that it was a big risk? And by the way, that was all true. But I remember going back to my intuition and going back to my purpose, back to me. I'm like, you know what? It's going to be hard, but I'm going to surround myself with good mentors. I'm going to make the right cognitive steps and the right decisions here. But overall, I got to not lose her voice, her brilliance. So for me, for any person that wants to start out there that's listening, their entrepreneurial journey, their business leadership journey, make sure that you're really going back to, is it your purpose? Are you clear on that? And if you're not, because I work with people that are like, I'm still clear, lack of clarity on my purpose of what I want to create. Great. I can help with that too. But I'm not here to tell you, you need to get that clear. And then you need to find ways of staying in alignment, integrity with that. Because if you lose that, any of your business systems, anybody you hire,
Mhm.
this other stuff that's really necessary in leading a business of impact, you will get lost in translation. So will your team, so will your business if you don't go back home. Clarity,
Yeah.
and making sure every word, deed, thought, action is aligned with
Mhm.
him or her. And when you do that, you create an anchor, a true north. So for everything else that happens in business, we all know this, you'll be ready for it because you have that anchor to who you are, showing up in that light. So you guys make courageous steps every day, tiny as they are, in who you really are. And I believe those are the greatest courageous steps you could take in your entrepreneur life. And honestly, in your life in general, be who you were meant to be. That's what the world needs most from you. And when I got that, game changing.
Jennifer, you are about to make me create exclusive content for this episode. You are absolute gold.
Thank you.
Your words are so powerful and so true. I'm curious, what was it that provided you with that courage? You you took the courage and you started taking those steps and started moving forward as you were saying. And I hope the audience, if they didn't catch it,
Yeah.
rewind,
Yeah.
go get back to that. Because what you said was really instrumental. You took the courage,
Yeah.
you went back to self, you listened to your intuition, you followed that gut that we talk about a lot on this show, and you started taking those steps forward. And you surrounded yourself, like you said, with the right people. You made sure that there was accountability, there was advice, there was support. What was it that gave you the courage, though, to start taking those first steps?
Definitely God. I have a relationship with Jesus, you guys, and this is not about what religion you are. It's something that is my guiding light. When I was in the depths of depression, you guys, which was in undergrad college, I was a two-time All-American, a good student, had the boyfriend, had the friend, and I was tanking mentally, emotionally, and starting to tank physically. I was not doing well. And again, the dormancy of who I was just doing whatever he thought I was doing. I was in a really not good space. And I had a come to Jesus moment. Literally, it was basically, I think, kind of between undergrad and then going to PT school where God and I met, and it's like, this is the do or die moment. Like I was suicidal ideation. I just didn't want to be around anymore. This is what that's was about, doing it the hard way, not feeling good and doing what everybody else wanted me to do. And I felt him come to me like, this is your moment. And I believe God comes through things like intuition. God comes through things like, I got a call from my mom that night. God comes through things to support you in a moment that you need to take a hard race. And that was for me, is my spiritual connection to my creator. And I believe all of us have that. And I don't care if you call it universe, nature, creator, Jesus, like what that is. I believe these moments where we're about to self-implode, we can listen to something much higher than us, because the something that's much higher than us is what we're contributing to the world in, right? We all
Mhm.
came here at a certain time, at a certain reason, for a specific reason. That's why I wasn't born in Laura Ingalls Wilder Day. That's why I'm born now. So I do truly believe that's part of our quote spirituality. Go a little further. Not just about, I think it's Jesus and you don't. It's about why you're here. What is your
Mhm.
contribution? And I believe when you really connect with spirit, connect with spirituality, maybe it's just going on the walk in the woods in nature, like connect with spirituality in nature, you will get a calling of, what is your contribution to this earth? Why are you here? And God came to me that night, like, this is why you're here. This is why, and he did that through voice, through my mom calling, through intuition, like, something's not right here. What can I do to change it? So he gave me the courage to take the first step in courage, which was the first step of telling someone that I was having struggles with mental health, with depression. Intuitively, he just brought that to me. Like, I need to talk to someone about it. Then guess what happened? He also, I believe spirit and nature does that. When you ask for help, brought my mom calling that night. And then I shared with her that I did have depression. So that the little, this little trail started happening of what I needed to do. I didn't know what my purpose was at that point because I was just tanking. But that was my first step of connection to spirit, relationship. Why am I here, God? I'm feeling horrible, and it's not supposed to be this way. I can't imagine it. And he started speaking to me through my intuition. Then started giving things in my environment. Okay, I need to tell someone. Oh, great. Now my mom's called me. Like, it started the domino. Oh, great. Now that I've shared that with her, now I have to start researching things that will help me. Well, then that started happening. Then I started learning ways to support myself physically, mentally. And all of a sudden I started creating frameworks for how I was going to treat my PT clients that struggle with back pain and depression. like that whole journey, you guys. I believe when you connect to spirit, it allows you to gain clarity on who you are, which then gives you that courage to make the micro steps. Even if it's just, I don't know what I'm supposed to be when I grow up, but I know I'm not feeling good right now, and do what I just did. And then go down the little golden brick road. Then all of a sudden you take one step, then the next step, like I did. I started making frameworks for other people that I knew were struggling like I was. Maybe at the time I did, but then realized later that a lot of people like me that were high performers were struggling like me. So there was a lot of quote structural tools that I ended up using mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically to help me get out of depression, you guys, from body energy work, nutrition, coaching, counseling, cognitive remapping, blah, blah, blah. But it started with this one moment, this come to Jesus moment with, why am I feeling this way? Why am I here? I need help. And he sent something, spirit, nature, God, whatever creator sent something to me. I'm going to tell you guys this, when you ask for help, however you do to spirit, the answer's going to come, my friend. You got to be open to the answer. And in that moment, when I was an undergrad going into PT school, he gave me that intuitive answer. He gave me the call from my mom, which then stepped into research, which then stepped into looking at ways to surround myself with tools that optimize mind, body, soul health, which then helped me become an epic PT, which then helped me now, the things I do now, where I transition into wellness and performance coaching for high performing leaders. And I get to speak across the country on this now, everyone. So what does it take for all of you? I don't know how you commune with the higher ups that be, what you believe about that, but I do believe you need to connect to source. You know, Matrix, Neo talks about that all the time, right? Going back to source. That's going back to spirit, you guys. We all know that when we quote die, we feel our spirit or someone else spirit leave, like they're no longer there. Your spirit is how you commune with the creator, creation, whatever it is, your contribution on this earth and your core values that go with it. You guys, that is spirit at its bottom. And when you're at this moment of wondering what courageous step to take, I don't know what it is. I don't know who I am. I don't know. That's where it starts. Reach for that connection and you start delayering, maybe not in the way that I did, but in the way that I did, right? I was like, I'm like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what step to take. I don't know if I count, want. Before I knew it, you guys started these little steps I just mentioned. You see how that little conveyor belt started. Now I'm at where I'm at, where I get to speak to high performing leaders that struggle with depression, to high performing leaders and business owners that don't know how to shift their mental emotional state to work for them and not against them. I got to help them with that. I got to help them step into their unique leadership frequency. That's their true source, their true self. We talked about at the beginning. Once they've gotten rid of the mental emotional noise, I get to help them to create healthy, sustainable performance during growth, change, and adversity, whether it be internal, personal, external, the world like 2020. You guys, these are my loves. That's been my journey because I've gone through this hard stuff. I've gone through where I knew what I wanted to be, and I got dormanted by things of the world and family dynamics and things that I just believed about myself. And then I had to delayer that. And it started going back to source and delayering from there. And from that delayering, getting healthy. From there, leading in a more powerful way that was true to my integrity and my source and who I believed I needed to lead and what impact I needed to lead. And now, as a speaker and a high performance coach, I get to do that. My mission truly in life, Lori, literally, like I was just talking to one of my colleagues about this, is to connect, influence, impact 1 million leaders that want to use their impact for good for the world. If I can help the leader heal, shift their mental emotional state to work for them and not against them, help them align with their unique truth, their frequent, their leadership style, what they want to create, and help them sustain performance for themselves and their team and their community, and make that influence on their community world in a powerful way, no matter the environment, then I've won. That is a true mission of mine. And we, in a world that is hurting, and we know this, Lord, you know, so many of us, we don't even have to hardly put on the TV for 5 minutes. We need leaders, healed leaders, giving their unique gifts and purpose to the world for good to offset off all the evil. And there's evil in the world, you guys. If you believe in good, there's evil too. When you're aware of that, it will give you also more courage to take the little step that I just said, you guys. You don't have to take 20 big steps. Maybe you're at where I was at. Maybe you're on the floor like, Jennifer, I'm eating soup through a straw. I don't know anymore. I'm underwater with a lot of adversity. I've lots of clarity of purpose. One step. I was in the corner of my bedroom. Help me, God. Figure it out. One step was like, well, talk to someone. Okay. I'm in depression. Talk to my mom. You guys, the momentum, like it's little stuff like that leads me to where I'm at now. Guys, I just got done with my second TEDx, in April, and it's going to be coming out here in July of 2024 on chemistry and resilience. And it's all about, you guys, during life storms, when we get hit down, we're on the bathroom floor like I was, and we're going to get hit like that, you guys, sometimes. How do we move through that courageously and find our spirit again, find our purpose, find what we want to lead as entrepreneurs or as leaders or as high performers? And when you get that, the chemistry of that, you're going to get this brain and body that you were given wants to work for you, wants to do this game called life with you. But that requires you to take courageous small steps that seem really small at first, but keep following the trail and you'll get to the other side. You always do. All of you have experience, and I know you do have examples of that. When we were underwater.
Have you ever seen the movie What About Bob?
I haven't.
Okay. You're going to have to check that out. It's a very old movie. It's from the 80s. It's with Bill Murray. But doctor kept saying throughout the movie, baby steps.
Yes.
Baby steps. Like, and it's so true. And I reference this movie all the time. It happens to be one of my favorites. I'm ridiculous. I love it. I love it. I haven't seen it in probably 30 years, but it's still one of
I love movies. I actually, when I do a lot of speaking, I reference movies. I love movies where they're, I veer toward dramas, but I feel like comedies where they really create a powerful point about life,
Exactly. Exactly.
And I love that. I love that you said that. And that's how we connect, is through stories. And movies are all about stories. But you guys, at the end of the day, we as kids have these dreams. And some maybe are more clear than others. And then we spend sometimes our 20s, I don't want to say getting brainwashed, but feeding into what people think we need to be. And especially in social media, where we get so much noise out there. And also family dynamics. I talk a lot about core wounds, family dynamics. And you guys, I love my family, but we all have behaviors and things we believe that we developed into from our growing up, because all those layers start putting masks on us. And that's okay. You guys, we all have them, some bigger than others. It doesn't matter. But I'm going to tell all of you, if there's nothing else that you get from this podcast, is this. If you're in that space where you feel like, yes, Jennifer, I've just stacked on all this stuff. I don't even know who I am, what I want. I've been living this life that I don't even like. And maybe you're successful, but you don't like it. Or maybe you're not successful. It doesn't matter. And you're on the floor tanked. Or maybe you're not even on the floor tanked, but you're like, I'm kind of going down that road of not liking the life I'm in right now. I want to be on a different ladder. It doesn't matter if you're really tanked or just starting to see that. You guys are still going to get something from this message. If there's anything I can give you, is this: taking the small, courageous steps to say, I don't know where I'm at, where I want to go, but I know I want to figure that out. Show me that world, show me that creator, show me that spirit, and you will get these small steps and take that step and respond courageously. You guys, a small step, but to be courageous to tell my mom I was struggling with severe depression. She had no idea. Here I am, like, all doing well and being successful on the outside. Small, courageous steps like this allow me to start delayering things that weren't me, and then using other tools to heal pattern and trauma, and then move into who I was really, and like, oh my gosh, there she is. And then express that leadership frequency, express my gifts with now my stories of how I got out of it. So you guys can get there faster than I did. That's what we're all doing in this game called life. Combining your stories and your pain with some of your gifting and what you learned along the way, and giving us tools so that we can learn it faster. And that's what I'm going to give you right now, you guys. If you want to be a business entrepreneur, leader, whatever, be a high performer or something, and you're at this point of questioning who you are, or question if you're doing it right, or if you're doing what you need to be doing, or that you want to do in this life, or maybe you're really taking, I don't care where you're at on that. Are you doing what feels good to you? And if you don't know that, you connect with the universe, you connect with the creator, and start slowly figuring that out. If you kind of know what it is, it's staying in these small steps of integrity of who you really are. don't realize how hard that is, because we're in a world that we're all about PC sometimes, and we're afraid of being rejected. And you guys, it's a human need to desire to be a part of a community. And so I'm not saying that it's not important to have a community around there, but if you're on a community that doesn't take on who you really are and invite that and embrace that and celebrate that, you're in the wrong community, my friend. But it does start first with you being okay with your community. You laying that, healing that, and moving that forward. So I know we wrapped around a lot of different trees here, you guys, but I will say that at the end of the day, it's about coming back home to you, figuring that out, getting coaching support if you need to layer some things and heal that so you can move forward in an anchored way of knowing what your true purpose is, and then getting the right business mentorship around that. You got to go back home to yourself. There's so much brilliance and guidance here that we don't trust, intuition that we don't trust, because everybody out there we think we need to trust, which is interesting. I mean, we trust more people on the internet that we know for 5 minutes that we don't even know if they really know what they're talking about over our own gut instinct. It's actually what's mesmerizing. Why don't we go back home, who you really are, get clear, and then let your body tell you what you need in your life, people, places, and opportunities. I guarantee you, I've worked with so many business leaders that have all the systems, that are hiring the staff and are still struggling. And they teach them this stuff, you guys, how to become mentally, emotionally well, how to shift into a powerful state when you're having a hard day, how to express your unique core vision and stay aligned to your vision and your mission and stay in integrity to that, and hire a team to do the same. You guys, when you align with that and then you start using your body brilliance and intuition to make decisions and communicate this to your team, oh my gosh, the people, places, and opportunities just start flooding to you. Think it.
Like an infinity symbol.
It is.
Because perceived reality inspires successful minds.
It 100% does.
How you build your own prism. That's actually the title of my mindset transformation program that starts off the program that I do with financial advisors. And that's why I brought you on. As I read your bio and recognized who you were and what you did, I was like, I love you. I love what you're doing. You're a woman after my own heart. And I couldn't wait to connect and have you on.
That we don't need systems like structures and
right.
Automated systems and AI. You guys, I believe in all that. What I'm going to tell you, can tell that Lori agreed. When I go into businesses, what is missing is the soul frequency of you and what you're creating. I don't care if it's a wealth investment company. I don't care if you're basket weeding for things in Zimbabwe. I don't care if you're like, I don't care what your passion is, you guys. It literally comes down to what we're talking about. Going back to you, your home base, your soul purpose, your body brilliance is always telling you heck yes or heck no. People, places, and opportunities. When you learn to refine that and then stay in your unique frequency, man alive, you guys, have you ever heard, you all have had that day. I know you have, where you're like, you're in like this flow state. I call it the Jedi flow state, where like everything's going well. You're meeting all the right people. You're closing the sales. You're having fun. You're high energy. You're getting all these creative ideas. You know what that is, everyone? That's your leadership frequency, my friend. And learning to stay in that when life gets lifey with small things or big things, or it doesn't matter. That is literally your superpower for each of us. I can tell you, when you learn to switch that on, like there's days you're going to wake up and you don't feel like you're in it. That's what I've learned to do, you guys. It doesn't mean that I have easy days every day. Any good leader will tell you that. Most business leaders will say they probably have more problems than the average person. What they've learned how to do, among other next level leadership traits, which is something I teach in my program, is know how to shift their mental, emotional state, get back in their lane and in their frequency so they can game on with the rest of their day. Yeah. It's about you guys. And really creating a relationship to yourself that you really love yourself. I've gotten to this point that I love spending more time with myself sometimes than other people. And I don't have to be pretty awesome to come into my world. And it doesn't mean I'm better than you. What it means is I've learned truly to love myself and actually enjoy spending time with myself and expressing myself and having people in my world that get that. And if you don't, that's okay, but bye-bye. I don't really run with that anymore. Time is too precious to me. It's my biggest commodity. It's my most expensive commodity. I'm like, and I'm not, I'm very, very cognizant. I'm very aware of who I spend time with. And even the tasks I do every day, I've gotten very hyper-vigilant about that in a really healthy way, of course. So at the end of the day, you guys, if you want a summary of this whole podcast, it's go home. Go back home to her. Go back home to him. Delayer the junk that's maybe settled in on you, maybe a little bit, if not a lot, on the floor. It doesn't matter where you're at on that. We have a limited life on this earth and we do not have practice. We're in real life doing the play, you guys. And all of us have little mini regrets and you learn from, you move on. It's not about that you're not going to make mistakes. You learn a lot and then you help others because what you learn, it's all good. But what I'm going to say, you guys, in this life, I know I've been at the bedside of people very close to me going into the next life. And one thing it has taught me, okay, is make the most of this life. It doesn't mean you can knock it out of the park every day. It doesn't mean everything's going to go well every single day, but you can at least maximize your potential that day by maximize who you freaking are. And that's the most courageous step you will ever take. No people pleasing, no trying to be perfect, being raw and real, who you really are. And the people, places, and opportunities will come to you a little bit, if not a lot. You'll delayer the junk that isn't really you to the person that you are. And now you're going to get all the experience that you've had and the hard times and the lesson you learned. And now connected to the true person you are, you guys, you're lethal. You are unstoppable. You are in your flow state. Nothing can stop you. Abundance is all around you from that space. I have learned that. Sometimes all I do is change my frequency that day. You guys, what do I mean by my energy, whatever you want to call it, because I'm in a funk. And I move that and all of a sudden something happens or a sales call happens or not always a sales call. Sometimes a friend calls me or whatever. Something good happens, you guys, because I move into that frequency. And you can learn it too. And if you want to learn that, that's what coaching, support, mentorship is about, you guys. I want you to get it too. What did I say? I want to affect 1 million leaders because we need you out there doing great things for good people.
Yes, we do. 100%. So you are out here and you are now doing amazing things for great people. So share with us where you are with your practice today, Jenna.
Yeah. So like I said, my second TEDx will be coming out, hopefully in July here. It's on the chemistry of resilience. So be on the lookout for that, you guys. I'd love you to just, support it and just whatever feels aligned. It's going to be pretty amazing. It really aligns with what we just talked about. As far as what we're doing now, like I said, I was a traveler and I was a healer. I had 2 brick and mortar businesses, but now I'm in the coaching, consulting, and speaking space. I'm one of those people that's kind of the weird ones. I love speaking. So I'm going into my high tide kind of fall season of speaking, and I speak across the country, big, small events, workshops, retreats, workshops for different businesses. I love to speak on these different aspects that we just talked about, among other things. I also am always elevating my coaching and consulting programs I have for next level leaders, like all of you that are listening right now. So if you're interested in that, we're onboarding an open enrollment. We do it monthly. So it's something I'm really excited about as well. I'm looking at doing my first book at the end of the year. So those are things that are happening for me professionally, personally. Just love to play outside. Love to spend time with family and friends, and just in that world of dating right now, to be in that space of someone coming alongside me. So that's a really fun space too. So I'm a big believer in work-life balance. So that's a little bit about me and kind of where I'm at for the rest of 2024.
That is so exciting. I cannot wait to check out the TEDx. You must share the link to the book, and we must do another episode when that is out so we can be sure to promote that properly. I will be sure to include the link to your website and for the TEDx. If you share that over, I will drop that into the show notes page to make sure everybody gets a chance to see and support those. So excellent. Jennifer, of course. If you had a chance to go back, say 10, 15 years, in the midst of kind of really gaining all that clarity, kind of really starting to find a groove and recognize, okay, you've started to unpack yourself. You've started to come back to source. If you could have told yourself one thing during that point, during your journey, what do you feel like you would have gone back to tell yourself just to help yourself move that much faster?
Let go. Let go. And you guys, let go can apply in so many ways. Let go of mistakes you've made personally, professionally, that maybe you have guilt, shame about. Sometimes you need support to do that. I get it. Let go of regret. Let go of people that are no longer to be in your world anymore. That's a hard one because it's a lot. Let go of how you thought your life needed to be and be excited from here on out what it's going to be. Let go of what people think about you. Let go of expectations of others. Let go of anything but you. And, speaking of movies, because it really goes with that, the thought process, the life of Pi, the movie, one of the lines in there was the sum of life is the act of letting go. And I believe that
Mm.
applies to each and every one of us. And when you do that, it is a true act of faith because you're deciding courageously to let go of something that is not serving you with all the things I just mentioned. So you can align with your truest self, going back home to her or him, right? We've been talking about this whole episode. And you guys, as simple as that is, let go is probably one of the hardest things we as humans really deal with all the little things I just mentioned where we need to let go and it's part of just being human. And that's what creates the experiences and the lessons. But if I had to go back 15 years, I would say that let go, Jennifer. And if you don't know how to do it, and some of these things I just mentioned to let go in, get support, get
Mhm.
community to help you do it. Because I think we spend a lot of time in our past and not letting go, and it limits our present and future. So all of you listening, the art, I believe that the sum of life is the act of letting go. Even if it's small things today that you can take a step in of letting go of someone that you shouldn't be in your world anymore, or letting go of an old behavior, or letting go of a thought process, or letting go of a guilt, whatever it is, you guys, and get support if you need it. Just be honest with yourself and start letting that go. And you'll start seeing more energy, vitality for the life you currently have. Let go and your life's going to get better.
I absolutely adore that. Let it go. Figure out how to let it go. And I love that you stated, if you can't figure it out on your own, find the support. Again, bring it back to community. It's a lot about going to source, but it's a lot about making sure that you surround yourself with the right people that allow you the space to go back to source. So definitely. All right. So if you had a magic wand and you could wave it now and change anything at all, whether it be in mental health space or holistic well-being state or physical therapy. And, if you had that magic wand and could change just one thing, what do you feel like that would be?
Um, Kind of in business, is that kind of what you mean? What I
Yeah.
just mean in business? Yeah. Like I said, I've been a PT, a healer,
Mhm.
a wellness and performance coach at this point, speaking. And if I could change anything right now, it would be accessibility to all that for people. We still live in I was involved in healthcare and insurances for a while, and the accessibility to coaching mentorship that everyone could have, the accessibility to
Mm.
healthcare, the accessibility to good physical therapy, the things that I did, I sometimes had to cash pay because it wasn't covered by insurance. A lot of things I did were more holistic, higher level things that were more profound, but helpful. Same thing with coaching consulting. Some of the things I teach aren't always covered, they're more profound. So I will say
Mhm.
that I could change anything. It's more like the external thing to the world. And I'm just putting that out there. You guys, if we don't have our temple, mind, body, soul, I don't care if you're not willing to help in wellness, you have nothing. You can't show up powerfully with whatever other business you have. And that's what made it a big responsibility that I took on myself, that I was here to optimize people's vitality and health. 'Cause whether you're in health and wellness or not, you can be who you need to be if you're taking one of those areas. If I could go back and
Mhm.
change anything, I'd probably say more advocacy time to help it be more available for people. Some of the stuff that
Mm.
I did to help heal myself, some things I did where I had to hire a coach, a mentor to help me through stuff I talked about, from business mentorship to just healing myself and going back to better mental health, to coaching, to counseling, to some of the things I did from a nutritional state. I was blessed enough to have access to that and also the money for it. Because some of the stuff insurance didn't cover. And I know that's still a problem to this day. So if I could go back, I probably would say that I would try to advocate and do more for the American people to find ways to make some areas of health and wellness more accessible financially, more accessible just knowing where that help could be made. And I still believe that's necessary now. So maybe I can integrate that and even into my coaching, consulting, and speaking. But I would say that if I had to go back, I would change that where I invested a little bit more in that and advocacy. I do believe I help support a lot of people through their healing journey, and I'm helping support people now. But if I had to go back, it'd be more finding ways that it was accessible to people so they could actually live this life that we're talking about. It's small little steps we're talking about, but sometimes it requires accessibility to some of this stuff. And sometimes it
Mhm.
wasn't. So if I had to change the thing, it would probably be that.
I love that. Jennifer, you have been outstanding. I so thank you for joining me today. Please share the best way for our viewers to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the most active on LinkedIn and Instagram. On Instagram, I'm at the Jennifer Watson, and LinkedIn is Jennifer Watson. And I do answer my own DM. And whether you have additional questions on this episode or you're interested in finding out, first to know about my TEDx, or you're interested in some potential support, whether it be one of my programs or a workshop or just having me come in to speak in your organization, I am here for that. I love to do that. So you can reach out there and my support team will also take care of some things as well. But I'd love to hear from you and hear this episode aligned with you and some of your takeaways. So that's the best way to reach me.
I thank you. Thank you again for joining me today.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.